When does a stone idol actually become a living god? Most people don't realize this, but there is one exact moment in a Hindu temple when this change happens. A moment when the idol stops being an object and becomes a deity with life. That moment has a name, Prana Prastistha. And once you understand what happens inside this ritual, you will never look at a temple idol the same way again. But here's a surprising part. This transformation doesn't begin with the idol at all. It starts days earlier with the land, with fire, with seeds being sown, with geometric diagrams traced on the earth, and with priests preparing their own minds and bodies like surgeons before a critical operation. Because in this tradition, you don't invite divinity casually. You prepare the ground, you prepare the form, you prepare yourself. And only then does the actual moment of life installation begin. So let me take you through this entire journey from empty land to sacred space to a deity recognized in theology, ritual law and centuries of practice. The first step happens even before construction begins. Priests draw a giant geometric map on the ground, the Vastu Purusha Mandala. It looks like a grid, but it isn't just geometry. It represents the cosmic being lying beneath the temple. Every square has a presiding deity. Every placement has a meaning. And the Garbhagriha, the sanctum, is placed exactly on the head or heart of the cosmic being. Once the site is marked, the next step is unexpected. They plant seeds. This ritual is called Ankurarpana, the sowing of life. Grains are placed in pots or in a small mud altar. They sprout over the next few days. This is a symbolic test. If the seeds sprout strongly, it means the site is fertile, alive, ready. It means the temple will thrive. Only after life has appeared in the soil do they proceed to bring life into the stone. Meanwhile, the idol is being carved, but the sculptor leaves one thing incomplete: the eyes. No matter how perfect the carving is, the pupils are left unfinished. Because, according to Agama tradition, the moment the eyes are opened, the deity begins to see. And until everything else is ready, that gaze must not fall on anybody. So the eyes remain blank, waiting. Now the idol begins a series of rituals called adivasas, immersions or restings. This is where the pace of the ritual picks up dramatically. Over 1, 3 or 7 days, the idol is placed into different environments one after the other. Water, grains, sandal paste and oils, flowers, light, smoke. Even Navaratna gemstones representing the 9 planets. Each adivasa is fast, symbolic and layered. Think of it like tuning all the senses of the idol: water for purification, grains for stability, fragrance for presence, flowers for beauty, light for awareness. And by the end of these immersions, the idol is ready, but still not alive. Its body is prepared, but its breath has not entered. Now comes one of the hidden rituals most people never hear about: Ashtabandhana. Before the idol is installed in the temple, the priests prepare a thick, ancient adhesive made from 8 ingredients: conch powder, gall nuts, natural raisins, herbal paste, lime and more. This mixture is applied between the idol's base and the pedestal like sacred cement. It hardens slowly, sometimes over weeks, and becomes a permanent bond between the deity and the earth. There is also something else hidden underneath the idol that almost nobody talks about: a tiny cavity inside the pedestal. Into this cavity, priests place yantras, metals, herbs and Navaratna gems. This is called Garbhanyasa, the womb placement. You can imagine it as an internal wiring of a temple, a microcosmic circuit beneath the deity. And only after these hidden elements are in place is the idol fused on top using Ashtabandhana. Now the pedestal has a heart and the idol has a body. Only one thing is missing: life. The next step is Netronmilana, the opening of the eyes. This moment is powerful. The sculptor steps aside. The head priest enters. He holds a golden or silver stylus. He completes the pupils with tiny strokes. And in many traditions, he holds a mirror in front of the idol so that the deity's first gaze falls on its own reflection, not directly on a human being. This is how delicate the moment is believed to be. Now the idol can see, but it still cannot live. For that, the prana must be installed. So now the ritual moves into the yagashala, a ritual hall filled with sacred fires. Multiple homakundas are lit. Sanskrit mantras are chanted continuously. Offerings are poured into the homa fire while chanting mantras, and the fire is used like a transmitter. The mantras offered into the fire are ritually drawn into the kalashas through the kalashanyasa. The agamas say Agni energizes and the water receives. So the kalasha becomes a holder of mantra shakti for the final pratishtha. In parallel, the priest performs nyasa, one of the most complex rituals in Tantra and Agama. Nyasa literally means placing. It is a process of mapping divine consciousness onto a form. On his own body, the priest places mantras on each limb, head, heart, shoulders, navel and feet. Then, using the same method, he places mantras on the idol, seed syllables, mula mantras, six-limbed mantras, as if building a subtle body on the stone body. When nyasa is complete, the deity has a structure of consciousness mapped onto its form. But the breath still has not been installed. That happens now. Prana Pratishta, the moment of life installation. The hall becomes silent. The central fire blazes. The chief priest approaches the idol. He touches the heart of the idol with his hand. He performs controlled breathing. And at the exact moment of the mantra, he synchronizes his breath with the invocation, sometimes described as exhaling prana into the idol. This is a core of the ritual. And then he declares, Devata Agacha Tishta Tishta. O deity, come, stay, stay. From this point onward, the idol is not an idol, it is a deity himself or herself. In theology, in ritual law, in temple practice, from this moment the presence is considered real and permanent. And immediately after this, the kalashas, the mantra charged pots, are carried out in procession and poured over the deity and the entire temple. This is Kumbhabhisheka, when the divine presence is extended from the idol to the walls, the roof, the tower, the very air of the temple. From that moment on, the entire temple becomes the deity's body. This also explains why the Garbhagriha is restricted. The innermost sanctum requires absolute precision. The mantras, the touch, the timing all follow a linear specific discipline that takes years to master. Just as you wouldn't let an untrained person enter an operating theatre, only priests trained in the exact agama that governs that temple may step inside. It is purely about protecting the integrity of the deity's presence. And that presence now has consequences. Because once Prana Pratishta is done, the deity becomes a juristic person in Indian law, a perpetual minor who can own property, receive donations and be represented by trustees. Think about that. A ritual thousands of years old is still recognized in modern courts as a moment a deity becomes a legal being. And this is why daily worship matters. The Agamas say Prana Pratishta is a birth, daily puja is a life support. If the ritual stops, the presence does not disappear, but it becomes dormant like a lamp without oil. But if the rituals continue, the deity remains vibrant, awake, alert and present. So the next time you stand before a temple idol, you're not just looking at stone. You're looking at a form that has been prepared, purified, immersed, mapped, invoked, and finally awakened through one of the most sophisticated ritual systems on earth. And that system survived not by accident, but because it works. It creates continuity, it creates community, it creates presence. If this helped you understand our temples better, share it, because most people in our own country have no idea how much knowledge, precision and sacred engineering go into awakening life in stone. Subscribe to my channel to know more about our temples and traditions.